Welcome everybody. This is the semifinals of the World Tournament 2026. This journey started all the way back in February or March. Now we are in late June. So it has been a long journey. When you step out your door, you never know where the journey will take you, but it's been quite an adventure. My opponent in this match is Ibani. And the last two times I entered into the World Tournament, I entered into the semifinals, was feeling very good. Thought, yes, I have guaranteed two matches remaining. And in both cases, I lost both matches and ended up in fourth place. That was in 2025 and 2023. I did not enter in 2024. So I'm hoping that I will not lose two matches in a row to finish fourth again, but we will see. I don't think I played Ibani before, but he's played my son a few years ago. Really nice guy, so we're looking forward to having a good match. So I start off with Thranduil's Archers and Wizard's Staff, and he starts off, I didn't know this at the time, Corsairs of Umbar and Balrog of Moria. So some pretty good starting cards for both sides. His are not playable. Well, I guess Balrog is playable. Corsairs, though, he can maybe prepare Gondor Rush later on. Okay, so let's go ahead and see the dice rolls. He starts off with 3 eyes, and I start off with 1 character dice, a couple of H dice, and a Palantir. It's a bit of a choice here whether I want to play Thranduil's Archers or Wizard's Staff. The advantage of Thranduil's Archers, I get to draw 2 cards, and I have 2 H dice, so that would probably traditionally be the way to go. However, I decide to play Wizard's Staff. I do that because a lot of games I lose by corruption. A lot of games I get revealed on the first step, and it just makes getting to Mordor such a difficult slog. I can also play Thranduil's Archers with an H die later on if I choose to go that route. So I don't know that this is the best thing, but I just really don't want to get revealed with 3 eyes right off the bat on the first step. If you only had 1 eye or maybe 2 eyes, I probably would not have played this. Okay, he recruits Isengard to war. I move, and immediately I am hit. So perhaps it was a good idea to play Wizard's Staff. I will never know if I would have been revealed or not. Okay, he starts moving armies. I move a couple armies around. He recruits Saruman, typical. I move the elves up 1 towards war. I don't yet want to play Thranduil's Archers. Actually, another reason I decided to wait is I prefer till he moves out a bit to play that, so it doesn't influence him too much on where to go. Once he's partway up there, then I can play it and, surprise them when they're closer to the stronghold. Okay, so I draw Last Battle and a blue tile. He draws Denethor's Folly and Foul Thing from the Deep. He does have a lot of movement dice, so will he go for Gondor, since he has Corsairs, or will he do the typical Lorien pincer move? I just start off passing in no rush. He draws a card rather than playing Balrog of Moria, and he draws into the Shadow Lengthens. I want to save my muster army dice to see where he's moving and how to defend. And I definitely want to use the Palantir before I move in case Gandalf dies. So I just go ahead and play it now. And I draw into King Brandsman and Wisdom of Elrond. King Brandsman is a pretty good card to play, obviously, if he's going north towards Dew. He moves north. I go ahead and play King Brandsman. I draw through night in a day. So here I'm getting a little bit excited. My plan is to move 1 guy from Dale down to northern Rovanion, and he will have to go through 2 of the northern armies before he even gets to Woodland Realm. And I'm thinking, well, I have 2 good cards, so I can use Confusion and then another Confusion, and perhaps whittle down that army quite substantially before he even makes it into Woodland Realm. But then he does something which okay, not quite yet. Okay, so I move again, and it's another hit. He draws a 1. Would you kill Gandalf here? I decide to do it. Maybe it's not the best move, but he already has Saruman, and if I just get a Will of the West next turn, or maybe one character die in a Will of the West, I'll be glad that Gandalf is dead. Sorry, bro. So that he can come back as the white. So I decided to go ahead and kill him. Then he plays Shadow Lengthens. He's talking about whether or not he has to leave a guy in Dog Guldur before he moves the other army in, and he does. So he gets it right. Then I decide to move the elves up, seeing that he's going for Du and Lorien. This was a difficult choice for me. I was considering moving the north up, and seeing as he's going to have to go through some of those armies, maybe I have a good chance to start mustering the north. I'm not really quite sure which is better in this case. It's hard to say. He moves towards the north. I draw into Eagles Are Coming in the red arrow. He draws Shelob's Lair and Musterings of a Long-Planned War. And I kill the Eagles Are Coming Heroic Death. Okay, he has 3 eyes again, and I roll 1 Will of the West, so I'm glad that I did kill Gandalf to the 1 in the last turn. That way I can get Gandalf the white this turn. I drew into Scouts, so I want to get as many of those guys into Woodland Realm as I can. Hopefully he doesn't have a swarm of bats. He moves Southrons and Easterlings up. He attacks Old Forest Road. I scout backwards into Woodland Realm, so that's a nice full stack there. Bring out Gandalf. He attacks Lorien. The elves are at war. And here I decide to go ahead and move the, so go ahead and recruit an elite in Woodland Realm. I'm thinking if he attacks, then I can save the regular back into the forest pool. Sometimes regular elves are hard to come by. And I'm just thinking it makes that stronghold that much tougher to crack with 1 more elite in there. But it may have been better to move the north up and then use Wisdom of Elrond to move the north up again. And yeah, he would probably then attack Dale. Then maybe I could recruit in Carrick. I'm not sure. So I do decide to move the north up here. And my thinking is I don't want him to take Carrick. The north will be 1 step away and then just attack Dale to seal off any possibility of Northerners creating a mess in the Dew line or mustering for them. So I want to bring them 1 away so that whichever side he attacks, I will be able to start recruiting. Okay, he plays Shelob's Lair. We're on to turn 4. The Fellowship has made very slow progress, but his military isn't making super fast progress either. He does have Lorien under siege, but Woodland Realm is looking to be very difficult. Okay, this turn he gets 4 Palantirs, and I get a bunch of movement dice, so my mind is thinking, run, run, run. And I decide to go ahead and do it before he can maybe Lidless Eye a couple of those Palantirs if they're not useful. He doesn't hit me. Nice. He moves the Southrons up. I decide to leave the Will of the West. If he gets rid of it now, then I don't have to worry about a Day Without Dawn the rest of the game. I pass. He attacks Lorien. I play Confusion. He plays Durin's Bane. So he hits 1 with Durin's Bane. Confusion doesn't hit, but he doesn't hit either. Then I hit back 3. Oof. So definitely I've been practicing rolling, considering how important the semifinals game are, and so far in that battle it's paying off. I tell him basically just go back to Mordor. Get back. Okay, we have some comment in the chat box. He plays Ring is Mine. I move again, and he hits me, and this time he reveals me. Quite the bummer when he only has 1 eye in the box. So he's hit 3 out of 4 moves. I go through Moria, and he hits me again with a 1. He draws Return to Valinor. I don't recall the last time I ever saw that card played for its event effect. Okay, he moves a Nazgul there on top of Frodo. I move, and good Nazgul hits, and it's an eye. So that's hit 4 out of 5 moves. He draws Candles of Corpses. I hide. He decides to attack Lorien. He plays Dread of Despair. So I play no quarter. And he does hit 2 sixes. And I miss both. So that battle hurt. It looked like I maybe had a chance to break the siege. And now it looks difficult again. He presses. He plays Deadly Strife. And he finishes me. I hit him 2 on the way out. There he drew from the wrong deck. Draws Lidless Eye. So at this point, he starts to draw. He's drawn a couple of character cards. It looks like he's seeing maybe military is kind of slow, so corrupting the fellowship could be the way to go. He has 4 eyes this time. Sauron really wants that ring. He drew this time Hill Trolls and the Nazgul Strike. I drew Kindred of Glorfindel and House of the Stewards. So I move and I'm hit again. It's 5 out of 6. I take a random and it hits Boromir. He gets ready to use Corsairs. So here, what would you do? I have another character die. I could play Fiala of Galadriel and Elven Cloaks, maybe with a character in the Palantir, or I could move. I end up deciding to move. Probably a mistake. Looking back at this, his military is very slow, and I probably don't need to rush it. I kind of, sometimes when I slow play in this situation, I also regret it because they draw more and more character cards. The track gets harder with more red tiles put in. He draws into more of the Fellowship attack cards and things like that. So I kind of wanted to just push a little faster because of that. But I think probably it was a mistake to move here. And he hits me again and gets another 3. And corruption starts to become an issue. So I decided to take a random again. And it draws Gimli. Then he plays Nazgul Strike. And he gets another Fellowship attack roll. He hits again, this time for a 2. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, corruption is getting worse and worse. And I don't have any healing corruption cards. I don't have Athelis. I don't have Bilbo's Song or anything. And he's put a couple of red tiles in, and he's drawn a lot of tiles out. So the hunt pool is going to be heavily ice-centric when we get into Mordor. So I decide to take the corruption. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I need to go to Minas Tirith to heal. I decide to take the corruption, and maybe I'm going to need Strider or Aragorn at some point. So I just decide to eat the corruption. I have a lot of cards in my hand, and I don't really want to throw away, so I play an int card. I hit 1. I'm pretty much guaranteed to hit max 1 on that in my game. So if you ever play me, just leave 2 guys. It should be sufficient. And then I also play the Fial. So then he plays, whoops. Sorry about that. Let me get the zoom level back right again. Okay, then he plays Corsairs of Umbar. He moves all. And, okay, what would you do here? You have a Muster and you have a Will of the West. Do I move again and try to go ahead and get into Minas Tirith and start healing? Do I maybe muster the North? Mustering the North isn't a bad idea because he has 1 character and 1 H die. He has no Nazgul and Old Forest Road. So if I muster the North, then he would not be able to take both of my mustering points. So presumably I muster the North to war. He attacks Dale. Then I can start to recruit Ankeric and make more of a mess for him up there. But in the end, I decide to use a ring and bring Strider to Minas Tirith. Actually, I was kind of waiting for him to move that army out of Umbar, thinking that after he moved out, if he did, use Corsairs, then there's a lot of space here in Umbar and Mordor, and the Fellowship is in really big trouble. So at this point, my focus starts to shift a little bit. Like, okay, I'm still going to focus on the Fellowship, but they're going to need to rest probably in Minas Tirith before entering Mordor, if I can. So I need to start to build up some kind of a military threat to give myself an out, to give myself some type of a chance to win if Frodo gets too corrupted. And that's very difficult to do without Aragorn. So I decided to get Aragorn. And I'm really hopeful he doesn't have Day Without Dawn. And thankfully he doesn't. So he attacks Dol Amroth. One shot. Total destruction. I do hit 3 back, which is something. I recruit Aragorn. He starts moving that way. Okay, so now I have 6 dice. He draws Olokai, Lord of the Ring. I draw Grimbeorn and Gwei here. So things start to get interesting. I really need to start building up that army in Minas Tirith. And hopefully get Frodo into Minas Tirith to rest as well. Okay, I have 6 different dice that can move armies, but unfortunately I don't really have many armies in position to attack. He has a ring and 1 muster die, so I can't just stroll into Moria. So I decide I just need to start recruiting like crazy in Minas Tirith and build up a big army. He wisely moves a guy to Umbar before he attacks Pelargir. I was hoping he wouldn't do that. I was hoping he would just attack because I had scouts. I was going to scout into West Harandur and then move into Umbar. Okay, he attacks Pelargir. He gets it. And I move into Osgiliath. Actually, it's earlier than I wanted to. I wanted to recruit a couple of more times. I actually still have 2 elites left. I have more leaders. But Osgiliath is a really important territory. And if he gets there first, and his next move probably will be to Osgiliath, then it pretty much seals my army into Minas Tirith and prevents a lot of options. So from Osgiliath, I can go south towards Umbar or Far Harad. I can go towards Mordor. I can go towards Dol Guldur. I can even go towards Moria or Think. So I don't know. What would you have done? You can share your thoughts in the comments. Would you recruit more? This is how I decided to go. He says, that's the move mothers scare their children with at night. I really enjoyed playing with the Bonnie. A really stand-up guy. Never complained. Good attitude. Always willing to wait if I needed a bit of time to make my decisions. And we had some fun banter back and forth during this game. Okay, he recruits. He moves towards Erebor. I'm with the Fellowship. I'm hoping to start resting in Minas Tirith. He plays Foul Thing, doesn't hit. I recruit in Minas Tirith again. This move was a little bit surprising to me. Shadows Gather to Pelargir. He's threatening Minas Tirith. I wonder if he's trying to fight a battle at Osgiliath, or maybe he can come back to take a stronghold behind me if I take one. I'd like to get his thoughts on why he moved that army there. With my big army in Osgiliath, there is some threat to go into Mordor, and those guys are out of the way now, but they can also protect Umbar and maybe fight a pitched battle. So an interesting move. I was definitely a little bit surprised by that move. So I move Gandalf there, mostly thinking, okay, if he attacks me, nullifying all of those Nazgul leadership will be quite important. He says he doesn't like the big army. Why no small army that like? So he would like to have a small army. He does Isildur's Bane. It doesn't reveal me, but it hits 2. So now I'm at 8 corruption, and I'm still 2 steps away from Mordor if I don't declare in Minas Tirith. Okay, turn 7. I draw Imrahil of Dol Amroth and Mir of Galadriel. This was a somewhat difficult decision what to get rid of. I believe I for sure got rid of Elven Cloaks and also Kindred of Glorfindel. I actually think I clicked Kindred of Glorfindel by mistake because I remember when I rolled my dice and was getting ready to play a card, I was surprised I didn't have it. I think I was trying to get rid of House of the Stewards, but I was momentarily distracted or something. So I wanted to save Gwei here, the Windlord, in case I need to move Legolas and the Hobbits to an army to help attack, or maybe move a character into a stronghold to help defend it at the last minute, something like that. Okay, so the Fellowship is on turn 7, and they're still in Minas Tirith. The Shadow is at 5 victory points. The chart says 4, but it's actually 5. Dol Amroth, Lorien, and Pelargir. So, yeah, who would you give the odds to at this point? I believe my son came into the room around this time and said, Dad, how's it going? How are you doing? Are you going to win? I said, I think I have about a 20% chance to win. That was roughly turn 6 or turn 7. So, yeah, I definitely would say the Shadow is favored at this point. So he has 3 eyes. That's not ideal for him since I don't plan on moving this turn. And I get 2 Palantirs. I want to get a lot of musters. I want to start mustering the north. I want to muster up Rivendell or Woodland Realm. I just really want to start mustering a lot more armies to put more threat on the board. I don't really particularly want to move out yet, so I would rather the character dice and Palantirs be musters, but this is what I got. So here it is, folks. The last battle. You probably have not seen that card played in many an age. Why do I play it here? Actually, I would have rather played Kindred of Glorfindel for sure and drawn another card. But I just don't have anything to play. I have 2 Palantirs, and it's too early to play Gwei here. I thought about playing Grimbjorn. It would be nice to start getting an army in Carrick and maybe threaten Mount Gundabad or Dol Guldur. The problem is, in a possible free military attempt, scouts is so important. A lot of times scouts can give you that one free move, which can really launch you towards a stronghold. For example, if he attacks Woodland Realm and I can scout one space towards Northern Mirkwood and go to Carrick and basically get around his army and potentially go to Mount Gundabad. Or if he attacks my army in Osgiliath. So I don't really want to play that just for the one guy in Carrick. I can't play House of Stewards. I can't play Imrahil of Dol Amroth. I guess I could play Mirror of Galadriel, but I don't really want to give him 2 Will of the West to destroy with Day Without Dawn. So I could draw a card, but then I'd have to throw away a card. So I just decided to play Last Battle. I do anticipate the Aragorn army is going to be outside of a free nation for quite a while. And maybe if I can hold him off for 2 or 3 turns while Frodo rests, I can make a run for Mordor and hopefully move 3 times without getting hit. Maybe give myself a chance to win on the track. So that was my thinking behind playing that. He was quite surprised. He said it's very rare. I said, yeah, it's rare because it's terrible. But it is a semifinal, so I should do something interesting. So I did something that many players probably cannot say that they do very often. I played Wizard Staff and The Last Battle in one game. And I don't think I'm very proud of it, actually. So he draws Threats and Promises. I recruit in Rivendell. He recruits in Iron Hills. I draw a card. Man, I wish I had the Kindred of Glorfindel to use with that Palantir. He attacks Erebor. I recruit in Rivendell again. He used Black Captain commands to attack Erebor. It's sad. I love the dwarves. They're my favorite faction. So we'll see what they can do up here. I play Shield Wall. He uses Swarm of Bats. He hits me once. And here it comes. The dwarves. Khazad-dûm. 4 hits. Very lucky, but like I said, I've been practicing. Rolling 6s is a very good strategy. So I hit him 4 times. He hits me 1. And that means Erebor is very hard to take. That's important because If he got that, he'd be at 7 points. And then if I move out from Osgiliath, he could take minus Tirith, and he could take Dale. Done. And now he would have to take one additional stronghold. So that was pretty big. And I decided to start to move towards Moria. Honestly, I totally expect that he has Shadows on the Misty Mountains or Pits of Mordor. It seems like every time I do any kind of free military shenanigans, when there's a stronghold empty or somewhat nearly empty near me, it's just a trap. It's bait, and they want me to attack it, and then they play the card. So that's what I expect. But looking at his hand, he doesn't have that. He does have Hill Trolls. So I'm really kind of thinking go towards Moria, then maybe I can move through Moria towards Dol Guldur, potentially, if he does have one of those cards. And I also really want to get rid of his ring. I really want him to use the ring because with a ring, it's really hard to do any military shenanigans. He has one extra move or one extra muster pretty much wherever he wants it. It's a lot harder to take advantage of bad rolls if he has the ring. So I'm hoping he'll use the ring. And he did. He draws in a new Powers Rising. I drew Celeborn's Galadriel and Mithril Coat and Sting. So if Frodo ever gets moving again, then Mithril Coat and Sting could be really useful. He assigns 0 eyes and rolls 3. Not an ideal roll, and I roll quite a lot of movement with 2 Wills of the West. So we talk a bit. I use a Will of the West to attack Moria. Here I fully expect him to play a Reinforce card, but he doesn't. He plays New Power is Rising. So what would you do here? Can you take 2 elites with that? I do have a charge, which is useful with my 4 elites. And I do see that his armies are coming from North Dunland and South Dunland. I'm also afraid that he's going to sneak behind me and just take Rivendell and get that for free. What I'm most concerned is if I attack Moria and it doesn't go well and this whole army is mostly wasted and then he can just take Rivendell for free. But I decide to do one attack first and kind of see how it goes. If I lose badly or don't get guys off, then I'm still looking at Rivendell to maybe go back towards Rivendell to defend. I do play charge. I miss all on charge, but then I get 2 6s on the first attack. He gets 1. Okay, so he has 2 guys left. I don't have any cards to help. And I'm thinking, okay, try one more time. Don't stop to give him any chance to do any kinds of reinforcement. Which, if I stopped, he could use Hill Trolls, so it's good I didn't stop. So I reduce, I hit 1, he hits 1, and I decide, okay, I'm that close, let's just try it. And so I finish it. Okay, so now I'm at 2 points, and he has 5 dice. 5 dice, I believe, is just short of achieving a military victory for him. So if he takes the army in Pelargir to minus Tirith, to take that, if I leave Osgiliath, then that's 3 moves to take minus Tirith. One of those moves could be used for North Dunland to Holland. Then it would need 2 more moves for him to take Trollshalls and Rivendell. That's 5 moves plus 1 move to take Dale. Assuming I don't protect Dale with Woodland Realm. But anyway, he needs at least 6 dice to get 5 points at this point, and he doesn't have it. Maybe if he didn't recruit North Dunland, I don't remember if he used a Palantir for that or not. Oh, he used a Palantir for that. So yeah, that die couldn't have helped him move either. He doesn't have any cards that can help him move faster. So military victory this turn is off the table for him. He has to stop me from getting a free military victory. So he has 5 dice. This is where War of the Ring kind of becomes a puzzle. There's so many options and choices. How can he use 5 dice to make sure I don't get 4 points? As I'm looking at the board, I think if he takes this army in Orthanc up towards Moria, he can get to Gap of Rohan, then move up step by step, consolidating armies as he goes. I think 5 attacks should be able to get that entire army onto Moria, which would give him a pretty decent chance of a take back. So he moves to North Dunland and to Dimrell Dale. Um, I'd be curious to ask him if he saw the move from Orthanc, if he had a different plan, what he was thinking at that time. Okay, now my move, and I'm what I'm worried about is he's going to use the army in North Dunland to attack Moria. He's going to reunite it with Dimrell Dale, and I feel like he probably has Grond or fighting Uruk High, or Nazgul are moving or something in his hand. So that's kind of what I'm worried about, is especially if he can get both those armies on top of Moria and then use Grond or fighting Uruk High to finish it. I did save Gwei here, the Windlord, earlier, so I can potentially get a companion or two into Moria, but that can move 4 steps, and I'm 5 steps away from Moria with Gandalf and Aragorn. So a lot of ideas were circulating in my head at this point. I considered going to West Harendur and baiting him into using one of his dice to attack, and then using scouts to move to South Athelion, and then maybe go to North Athelion. No, then I'll only have 3 dice left. Then to basically just blast minus Morgul with this army. But 2 risks with that. One, he might have Swarm of Bats to nullify my scouts. Then that wouldn't look so smart. And second is, I'm not convinced this army can take out minus Morgul in one shot. Because I don't have any good attack cards. I have 0 cards that are good for attacking. Daylight, Blade of Westerness, Heroic Death is good for defending, Scouts, and Daring Defiant. So I have nothing good for attacking. So minus Morgul, I have the odds probably if I straight up attacked it, but it's not guaranteed. And I also want to be able to get a guy into Mordor. So, not Mordor, sorry, Moria. So after thinking about it a little while, I decide to move Gandalf and a guy to Druidane Forest, and the rest more towards Morannon and the Black Gate. I also struggled a lot. Do I take Aragorn with Gandalf? My thought is use Gwei here to dump those guys into Mordor if he doesn't defend Morannon. So I still have 3 dice. If he defends Morannon, I need to use all 3 dice to attack Morannon. And then if he doesn't, to keep his dice for getting back Moria, then I'll have 1 spare die to throw a couple of guys into Moria. So what I'm concerned about is that he will use the muster to recruit an elite, and then, or maybe Pits of Mordor or something like that, and then use the army die to move some guys to Morannon, and then use a character die to use some Nazgul. Would this army in North Athelion be enough to take out Morannon without Aragorn and no good attack cards if it's going against 4 or 5 guys with Nazgul? I don't know. So this is really hard. So this is how I ended up going with it. We'll see how it goes. So then he actually recruits in North Dunland to get another elite there. That gives him a chance to press. Good move. I move towards Morannon. He attacks Moria. And it's interesting that I have the last battle, which is basically about Aragorn assaulting Morannon. So this plays out a little bit like canon, with the Aragorn army assaulting the Black Gate. But this time, Aragorn shows up for the last battle and no one is there, and he left Frodo in Minas Tirith. So that's a little weird, but the Black Gate's open. There's no orcs there. So he just marches right in. Okay, he moves his units to Moria. Then I use Gwei here to send Gandalf there. And I was really glad not to see Nazgul or moving or something like that. Although I could use Gandalf to block the Nazgul leadership still. Okay, I do have a couple good cards for defense. I have Heroic Death and Daylight. The main question was which to use on the first round. Sometimes I get sneaky or tricky and play the best cards on the second round. This time I just went more safe. If he has a desperate battle or something, this could or Deadly Strike. This could be over quickly. So I use Heroic Death. He hits 1. I hit 1. His Great Host hits. I lose a unit and a leader. He presses. I use Daylight. He has Delivery of Orthanc. So he needs to hit 3 dice, 5 or higher. Not impossible. I've lost to way worse odds than that. Let's see, that's 1 of 3, 1 of 9, 1 of 27. So he has a little bit less than a 4% chance of pulling it off. My son has pulled off many less than 4% chances against me. But this time it doesn't happen. GG and GG. So that was a fun game. Even though it was only turn 8, the actual playtime of this game was like 2 hours and 30 or 40 minutes because it was really tense. There were a lot of difficult decisions and difficult calculations. And it was a semifinal game, so I think we both took a little bit longer than normal to take our moves. So in the end, a free military victory. That was kind of fun. Frodo is still chilling and minus Tirith. I guess with Aragorn storming the Black Gate, Sauron's distracted enough that later Frodo can just kind of walk to the top of Mount Doom and throw it in, assuming he can throw in the ring, which Tolkien said basically it's impossible, which is why Providence stepped in and Ilúvatar sent Gollum to do the job for him. Anyway, a fun game. Thanks to Ibani for this great game, a great sport all the way through. It was a really fun one. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope to also record the semifinal game 2 with Ibani after this. Take care, guys.